Hello little buns, it is Steph. Welcome back to my home. So, I do live streams several times a week, and it's always very laid back, very casual, and I'm just very real and very raw with everything we talk about and everything we do on these live streams. There is a link in the description box to YouNow, which is where I live stream if you are curious. And something that comes up quite a bit is veganism, which is obviously a sensitive issue and something that is very important to a lot of people. And I said something in this live stream regarding veganism that isn't sitting right with me and that I regret kind of saying. Maybe not regret, because saying it has made me come to reflect a little bit more, but I mean it wasn't really a good thought what I said. I don't know, it wasn't really, you know, whatever. It makes me feel weird that I said that. What I said was basically, if vegans cared half as much about trans people as they did about animals, that I would have time to care about veganism, which isn't really true. The reality is, I think veganism is necessary, and I think we could do a lot better in the way we treat animals, and I think there are plenty of vegetables and other kinds of food that give the proper kind of nutrients to replace meat. So if we can reduce our consumption of animals, improve the environment, and be kinder, then I don't see why we shouldn't. And that's really what I've come to understand, is like, I probably would like to be a vegan. I should be a vegan, really, because I really, those are important issues to me. You know, the environment is a big one, because this world is going to shit. And kindness, just being kind and compassionate to animals, I don't see why not. I don't see why not. But here's what I have told myself my whole life. Not my whole life. I was vegetarian when I was a kid because my senior kindergarten teacher decided to tell all of the children that the meat on your plate was an animal, which I really don't see why they shouldn't know that. You know what I mean? I don't see why kids shouldn't be aware of that. I think if you're gonna eat meat, which I currently do, so I'm not shaming people, okay? I'm just saying, if you're gonna eat meat, I think you should own it. I think we should stop pretending there's some kind of a difference between a dog and a cow or a pig. If you can eat a cow, you should be able to eat a dog. Like, Lord, this is actually very important to me, because people are constantly always shaming certain cultures and countries and groups of people for eating certain animals, but we're over here eating the animals that they consider sacred. In Hinduism, cows are a sacred animal. You don't eat cows. But over here, in like atheist or Christian, whatever the fuck, in white America, we're like, oh yeah, cows they're stupid, we can eat those. I think if you're gonna eat meat, like I said, I do, own it, understand that is an animal, understand that it likely suffered when it was being killed, understand that those are the things that you're accepting when you eat it. And like, I do. And it does make me feel kind of bad, but I still eat it because I have it in my fridge. And I don't know, I think maybe I shouldn't. But I'm just trying to explain to you my train of thought for why I haven't been a vegan in my whole life. I kind of just said, okay, that's my reality, is I'm going to eat these animals, and I'm just going to acknowledge that they're animals, I'm going to acknowledge that they suffered, and I'm gonna be a bad person. And that's kind of shitty when I could do better. Like, why should I do that when I could do better? So recently I decided, I'm gonna start buying meat from butchers who get their animals from like ranches or farms where the animals are not kept in tight cages, not mass farms, you know, like the farms where they keep them until they're, you know, a certain age or they're old, and then the butcher or whatever. I don't know the exact process because I didn't do the research that I should have done if I was trying to make an informed, conscious decision. But I was like, okay, I'm gonna do that instead. And the reality of that situation is it's really expensive. It's very, very expensive. And as somebody that's trying to save up for surgeries and who's living on an income that isn't exactly grand, and is also very dodgy and very inconsistent, I don't think I have the means to invest in that kind of meat, that expensive meat that you know has come from a good source and animals that have been treated well. So the logical conclusion for that train of thought would be, maybe just buy vegetables from the grocery store, because that isn't expensive. For me, where I live, it's not very expensive. I just realized it looks like we're sitting in the dark, so I'm just gonna... Is that better? I hope that's better. Welcome to the light. So there was that train of thought. And then there was a train of thought, the one that made me feel weird, the one that I said out loud and I was like, oh, that's kind of bullshit, which was, vegans don't care about me, so why should I care about animals? Which was, that's bullshit. That is absolute bullshit. That's like saying, oh, an activist of this group doesn't care about me, so why should I care about the people that they're trying to support? That's terrible. That is absolutely terrible. It's awful. And I think that's kind of what I realized. So I want to apologize for saying that, and I want to talk about it a little bit. My idea in this context was basically, vegans don't come out to fight for trans rights, so why should I come out and, you know, be vocal in fighting for animals or whatever. And I don't have to choose, you know what I mean? And I'm not gonna become a vegan channel. I don't even know if I'm gonna become vegan. I might try it. I think I should try it. Maybe for a month to see if I can do it and how it makes me feel. But I'm not gonna become like a veganism activist. But I don't see why I can't try that while fighting for trans people. Because in my mind, it's too much. What I always tell myself when I see lots of comments about like, oh, we shouldn't eat meat or this or that or whatever, which I do think sometimes, y'all, it can be real annoying. But that's good, because that's how you make change. The fact that you were persistent and you were constantly like, Steph, you can do better. I knew I could do better, but I didn't want to know that. I didn't want to accept it. So you guys constantly telling me you can do better is making me do better. So you're annoying as fuck, but thank you. You know what I mean? Because if people weren't on me about it, I wouldn't have thought about it. I would just do the easy thing. That being said, I would like to see more people who are active about veganism be active about trans people or about other human issues. For the same reason you guys want me to be vegan. You know what I mean? I want you guys to stand up for people as much as you do for animals, and I'm sure some of you do. I have no evidence that you don't. I just know that I see a lot more people coming at me when I reference eating meat or I eat meat or cook with meat in a video, more than I see people coming at other influencers or other content creators for saying something or doing something transphobic. And I think generally that's because it's more acceptable to be a dick to trans people than it is to say veganism has no credibility. Because you can choose to not be a vegan, you know, like if you can choose to eat meat, I think you should just own that and acknowledge all of the bad shit that comes with it. But it's a lot easier for people to be like, no, trans people are crazy, than it is for people to be like, you know, vegans are crazy, because it's not really that hard to understand veganism. I think it's also important to talk about the reasons why people become vegetarian or vegan, because it's not always for an ethical thing. You know, some people can't eat or consume red meat because their stomach just can't handle it. For a number of reasons. There's a lot of reasons why somebody might opt to not eat meat in their life. And I think the ethical reason is actually probably only a third of people that don't eat meat is probably why. Sometimes I feel that the weight loss aspect is way too heralded, it's way too spread, it's all bullshit. You can be 100% vegan and still be overweight and still be fat, and that's not a problem. I hate seeing veganism or vegetarianism used as a weapon against fat people. They're not doing anything wrong. Like, I don't like that. I do not like that. Body shaming people, not cute. If you have to resort to that to try to recruit people into your movement, you're doing it wrong, okay? Because that's not what made me want to become a vegetarian or vegan, or to try becoming a vegetarian or vegan. And I'm not saying you should be respectable. I'm not saying respectability politics or a thing, because we all know that's bullshit too. But coming for somebody's appearance or weight or body type is ineffective, and it's cruel. It's like coming for Donald Trump because of the way he looks instead of for the fact that he's a giant douchebag and a criminal. You know what I mean? Putting up a statue of him in the street where he has a small penis is not a productive criticism. So don't do that in relation to veganism and body image, okay? Because that's bullshit, not helping at all. All of this being said, I am seriously going to try to consume no meat or animal products for the month of May. Any makeup I run out of in the month of May, I'm going to try to replace with a vegan or cruelty-free brand. And I'm just gonna try it. I'm gonna jump right in May and I'm just gonna try it. And the reason I'm not starting sooner is because I have fuckloads of leftovers in my fridge and I don't make enough money to throw them away, okay? That would be irresponsible and I would suffer for it. So I'm gonna start in May, all right? If you are vegan, I want you to do a similar kind of challenge. I want you, for the month of May, to call out transphobia anywhere you see it. Even if it's your family. You know what? You don't get to give your family a free pass to be an asshole. So call them out, educate people. And don't do it in a way that's shamey. Do it in a way that's, hey, you said something that isn't really true, or, you know, you could do better. Because that's what worked. That's what works. You could do better. You know better. You know? If you are not vegan or vegetarian and you want to try this with me, by all means, let's try it. I'm excited. I'll be documenting my thoughts and things on Instagram and Twitter, and maybe possibly Snapchat, but I never use it. But all of those are in the description box, so if you want to keep up but you don't want to try it with me, you're welcome to, or whatever. I would love it if you tried it with me though. I want to see how it makes me feel. And of course, if you're not in a position where you can make this change, then don't hurt yourself over it. Because the reality is, veganism is not always accessible. In some places it might be very accessible, but in others not so much. So don't feel guilty if you cannot make that adjustment to your life. But I mean, if you want to try it, let's see what happens. I don't know. I'm going to head out now. I feel like I have had a productive 10 or 15 minutes or whatever this was. Again, I apologize for in the past being so harsh about veganism. There are some valid criticisms that I have seen or I have parroted in the past, like how the quinoa import as a result of veganism becoming a much more staple in Western culture, affecting the farmers who can no longer eat. You know, that's like a valid criticism, but being bitter is not a valid criticism. So I apologize for being bitter and being a jerk. And I'm gonna try to do better. I'm gonna do better. We're gonna see. Month of May is the month. We're gonna do it, okay? Until next time, just know that what are you? Who are you? What? You are a change maker. I've said this one before. I said this exact thing before, but it's true. My life has been permanently altered by you guys in so many ways. Whether it's you calling me out or holding me accountable for something, or whether it's your love and support, or your literal financial support in surgeries and supporting me as a creator. I adore you and thank you so much for knowing that I can do better, you know, and for keeping me on my toes and for being good friends. You know, I really appreciate that. So until next time, just keep doing that. I love you so much. I'll see you later. Bye!